This week in East Brunswick was a memorable one for 700 of our young adult residents and their families, as it marked the graduation of the East Brunswick High School's class of 1983. Our first feature this week will take you to J. Doyle Field for the commencement. Sharon Karmazin will be in the studio with Township Engineer Bill Tanner to discuss a public meeting on the Wheelabrator Fry issue. The meeting is scheduled to take place Thursday evening, June 30th. Later, we'll look in on a special Youth Activity Day, sponsored this Saturday by the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. And we'll meet several leaders of the local council Boy Scouts of America, Sea Scouts. We'll also visit the East Brunswick Museum this week and get a preview of their new Victorian exhibit. And finally, on Consumer Aware, Mary Tenaccio will offer tips on dealing with mail-in contest cons. East Brunswick High School's class of 1983, some 690 strong, graduated this past Thursday. Though thunderstorms were forecast, the weather held out. The bleachers were filled to capacity. Following the traditional pomp and circumstance, an alma mater, Reverend Robert H. Laux gave the invocation. Principal James M. Sheeran gave some parting advice. Superintendent of Schools Dr. Joseph J. Sweeney presented the class, followed by their acceptance by School Board President Dr. David Seiden. Brief speeches were made by the 83 class president and the 3 valedictorians.
A century and a half ago, Charles Lamb, the famous English writer, was walking along a London street with a friend, and he stopped and pointed. "Do you see that man over there?" he said. "I hate him." "Hate him," his friend said. "How can you hate him? You don't even know who he is." And Lamb said, "Precisely." What Lamb is alluding to, I believe, is that we as people tend to equate the unknown with evil. We automatically assume that things are bad simply because they are unfamiliar to us. The unfortunate result of this is that we make faulty assumptions and judgments before we have the necessary knowledge. Too often we look at something superficially, find slight flaws, and reject it as a whole based solely on a surface inspection. For example, the East Brunswick school system was recently criticized for being in a moral decline. After hearing of a few scattered incidents, a small group of community members decided that some type of reform was needed. The main problem with their thinking, though, was that they became so concerned with the bad that they completely overlooked the positive aspects of our schools. To correct this problem in general, we must peel off the outer layers of a given situation until we reach the root, examining each layer along the way. In other words, we must see the whole before we act. Of course, we're bound to find some things that are displeasing, but as Emerson said, every sweet has its sorrow, every evil its good. Underneath all the horror and bleakness we see, the world has a lot of good in it, and as graduating seniors, it is our responsibility to seek it out. We have received the foundation for this during our high school years, and I wish everyone luck in meeting this challenge and any others that are sure to come along our way. Thank you.
One of the 20th century's foremost statesmen, Winston Churchill, once referred to the adage, "Hindsight is great foresight." Churchill apparently was relating to historical events. When examining this phrase in a broad scope, however, it reflects directly upon our educational experience. For the past 12 years, we have been educated within the school system, not so we can leave today and change the course of history, but so we can build the base for our future endeavors. Whether pursuing a career or furthering our education, the knowledge we have accumulated is vital in preparing a foundation for a successful life. Just as important as building an individual base is the necessity to have a foundation for society as a whole. Today we are continuing to realize the far-reaching effects that lie ahead of us in such areas as nuclear buildup, energy, and the uncertainties associated with the atomic age. However, without the wisdom we gain from hindsight, the future holds no solution. That is why we must utilize the knowledge we have and will continue to garner so we can successfully challenge and solve these dilemmas. While humanity has the capabilities to conquer the fields of space, it bewilders me to think it lacks the capacity to eliminate the fields of battle. Maybe that is what Churchill was trying to convey. We must be able to reflect upon our educational backgrounds and past experiences in order to properly deal with these worldwide problems. It would be a great accomplishment for this generation to capitalize on hindsight and for the class of 1983 to provide the inspiration to attain peace through knowledge. Thank you and good luck.
A good portion of our lives here, the East Brunswick school system has had a great deal of influence on both our minds and our attitudes. We have been given a fine education, and the study habits and discipline learned at East Brunswick will be immeasurable assets to our future lives. Now that a solid foundation has been set, we are ready to face the future. In this world of intense competition, it is imperative that we succeed. Courage and ambition are the keys to success, and to try is to achieve. Each of us will be facing new experiences following this important date. Without ambition, our unfortunate fate would be to remain stagnant for the rest of our lives. So set a goal for yourself. Once you obtain that goal, set a new one, and work toward realizing that. Always strive for more in your endeavors, and never give up. If you fail, then you can try something new with the benefit of knowing that you gave it your best shot. If you don't have the courage to try, you won't get the opportunity to succeed. Robert Browning had this in mind when he said, "A man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for?" I'd like to wish everybody here, fellow classmates, faculty, family, and friends, the best of luck in the future. Congratulations to the class of '83.
Welcome, Board of Education, Dr. Sweeney, Mr. Sharon, parents, distinguished guests, and the class of '83. After this evening's commencement, we will be high school graduates, leaving room for the juniors to fill our roles. It will be a time to reflect and cherish our memories, realizing that we are now entering adulthood in the real world. For the last 2 years, I've had the honor to lead this class of 700 as president. When I look at my fellow graduates before me, I can confidently say we have a great class. Being sophomores didn't intimidate us. We made the most out of our year. Junior year brought a sense of competition with the seniors for being the leading class, and we impatiently awaited our senior year. As the September finally arrived, we faced it with determination and strove to make it a successful year. The senior variety show was a huge success. Though our school's reputation was put on trial due to the content of the show, we all fought to regain recognition as good students concerned with society. On June 3rd, we had our senior prom at the Hyatt Regency in New Brunswick, and this was the largest engagement thus far for the Hyatt. At the conclusion of our prom, we received acclaim from the Hyatt and the photographers for the manner in which we conducted ourselves. It was, however, a tragic day, as we lost our friend, Harish Venugopan. It is with this kind of reputation that we leave East Brunswick High School. Let us hope that as we go to college, the armed services, work, or any other facet of life, that we continue this mark of excellence and continue to motivate each other and ourselves to be better. We should never forget where we learned the basis that is so important and continue our lives. It is with the help of our teachers, administration, and especially our parents for their constant guidance and moral support that aided us through the problems of adolescence and schoolwork, and we thank them. We close this chapter of our lives and begin a new one. We are filled with anticipation, curiosity, and are eagerly awaiting acceptance of all the challenges our future days may present. Congratulations to the class of '83, and we thank you for all your endless support and love. It was all of our efforts which made this class an asset to East Brunswick and the high school. Thank you.
Hello, this is Sharon Carmazin here at the library for This Week in East Brunswick. Every day when we open the newspaper, when we turn on our radios and televisions, There seem to be environmental impact issues in the news, and East Brunswick is no different. This week I have with me as my guest Bill Tanner, who's the township engineer, and we're here to discuss an upcoming meeting to invite you to the library to attend or to watch it here on cable channel 8, a meeting concerning our own most pressing local environmental issue, the Wheelabrator Fry resource recovery issue. Bill, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us about the meeting that's coming up.
This coming Thursday night, we will have Wheelabrator Fry and its representatives, their experts, to answer questions from the audience, as we did sometime back in February. You might remember we had a similar meeting. Only this time we are going to control the amount of time allotted both to the person who's asking the question as well as to the response from Wheelabrator to try to get as many people and as many different issues covered as possible during a public meeting.
Now, what's the date of that meeting?
That'll be Thursday, June 30th.
Right, and the time?
8 o'clock.
And that's here in the library,
Right here in
correct?
the library.
And the meeting, of course, is open to the public, and everyone's invited to attend and to bring their questions. Now, you mentioned a meeting that was held back in February, and that one was on February 9th. Now, the meeting was cablecast originally in February and will again be shown on tape on Tuesday, June 28th at 8 p.m. for those who'd like to watch what took place at the last meeting. Now, what do you expect the format of this meeting to be on the 30th?
What we will more than likely do is Mr. Dannon, Dave Dannon, our chairman of the Resource Recovery Steering Committee, will introduce the Mr. Ferrante from Wheelabrator Fry, as well as set the ground rules for the meeting. As of yet, the ground rules are still not set, since we're talking with Irate and Cause, as well as the steering committee members, to try to set them to be as fair as possible to everyone. After which we'll open the floor to questions from the audience, and we will go for 3 hours, just question and answer.
I see. And how do you think this meeting will differ from meetings that have been held in the past?
Hopefully, more issues will be discussed, more of what the people want to hear, and not so much what in the past has seemed to have been a Wheelabrator controlling the meeting. We hope to have a little bit more control this time so that people can ask questions. And maybe some of the questions or some information that hasn't been opened up before will be opened up during this 3-hour period.
I see. And the date, again, of that meeting is?
June 30th.
And it's here at the library at 8 o'clock. If you can't make it out on that day, tune in on cable channel 8 and you'll get it live from the library. And if you're not there that day, you can watch it again rebroadcast on July 5th at 8 p.m. Bill, thanks very much for being here, and we'll see you at the library on the 30th for the Wheelabrator Fry meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you again on East Brunswick next week.
The Children's Activity Day, sponsored by the East Brunswick Mormon Church last Saturday, was specially designed to be fun for children of all ages. A wide range of things to do and see kept everyone happy. There was a magic show featuring some puzzling card tricks and a crafts table where children learned to make decorative items. There was a beanbag game and aerobic dance instruction. Local scout troop leaders were on hand to teach the fine art of campfire building. The special activity days are held 4 times each year, sponsored by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now let's join Sharon to learn more about a less familiar branch of scouting, the Sea Scouts.
Hello, this is Sharon Karmazin here at the library for This Week in East Brunswick. And with me this week, I have 3 guests representing our local Boy Scouts of America Council, Thomas A. Edison. Directly to my right is Richard Kimmel, who's skipper of Ship 28, and he's a local resident of East Brunswick. Next to Richard is Joseph Simon, Commodore of the Thomas A. Edison Council. And on his right is Jack Dante, the Senior District Scout Executive. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi. Thank you.
Today they're all here to tell us a little bit about a very special program that Boy Scouts of America Explorer Scouts offers, and that's Sea Scouting. Can you tell us a little bit about the program, sir?
Yes, we are actually a part of the Boy Scouts of America, and Sea Scouting is the first name that came into being. About 30 years ago, it was changed to Sea Exploring. Now, it has now, at this point, 3 different phases of sea exploring, but the traditional is the Blue Fleet, which is the one that is used mostly. Now, we have here a display, if you want to see that, of your various pennants.
Right, let's see the blue flag. That's the one that's flown by the local ship here in East Brunswick?
This is the one that depicts the type of program that Ship 28 follows, which is a traditional, using a Sea Explorer manual and advancing in rank, much the same as you do in the service, Navy, Coast Guard, etc. Now the next one, of course, is the White Fleet, and this is mostly for recreational, like sailing, boating, surfing, and so forth.
Pleasure boating, that kind of thing?
Pleasuring, yeah. There is no set requirements for a knowledge of handling ships or boats, but it's usually advantageous if they learn a little bit. Now, of course, this is the one that has almost never been explored, which is a very important one. This gives you, goes even as far as what they call inner space, oceanography. They learn how to handle their engines in the traditional Blue Fleet. And of course, the main, thing is, like I was telling Jack during one of our training sessions, the Blue Fleet gives you the most opportunity to learn the 7th section of exploring, which is leadership or management expertise, I guess.
I see. Jack, can you tell us, what age group is exploring open to?
Exploring is open up to 14-year-old boys and girls through 20.
Now, do they need to have been in a scouting program previous to this?
No, not at all. Actually, it's better that they haven't, so that they can learn from their skipper and get into sea exploring from the beginning, but also be taught by the skipper and the other leaders.
Now, is it true that sea exploring isn't exclusively a male domain now?
No, that is absolutely correct. The Boy Scouts of America now do recruit co-educationally, because young ladies can join now between the ages of 14 through 20.
I see. I understand, Richard, that we have a new Sea Explorer ship right here in East Brunswick.
Yes, that's correct. It's sponsored by the East Brunswick Elks, Lodge number 2370. We meet the first and third Wednesday of each month at the Elks Club, which is located on Farrington Lake here in East Brunswick. And as was pointed out before, we follow the Blue Fleet or traditional Sea Scout program. This is a copy I brought with me of the current Explorer manual that we're using at present. We also have a display here in the library, if anyone wishes to see it, displaying some of the old manuals that we have and some of the badges of rank and office the program offers. There's also a fact sheet that can be picked up.
Tell me about what your group is going to be doing this summer.
Over the summer, we're going to be working on our boat.
So you have a real boat?
Yes, we do. It's moored over in Morgan, in a marina, and it's out of the water. It's a wooden boat, and we have quite a bit of work to do on it, so the kids are going to be kept very, very busy this summer.
And your group does have girls in it too?
Yes, we do.
Can you tell us, if people are interested in getting involved with your group and finding out more information with the possibility of joining, what should they do?
They can call me directly. My home telephone number is 257-7111, or they can call the council office. The telephone number at the council office is 494-0305, and they could call the Commodore, Mr. Joe Simon, and Joe's telephone number is
634-3827.
3827.
Okay, give me your number one more time.
257-7111.
Okay, so if we have any young people out there, ages 14 and up, who are interested in finding out more about sea exploring in East Brunswick, get in touch with Mr. Kimmel over here at the number that you see on the screen now. Gentlemen, I thank you all for coming today to talk about Sea Explorers. Wish you all a good summer out on the water. And here in the studio, this is Sharon Carmazin, who wished she had a little cool water right now because it's pretty hot here. Until next week for This Week in East Brunswick.
Now let's join Grace Hour at the East Brunswick Museum for a look at their Victorian settings.
It is our pleasure to invite you to the East Brunswick Museum to our exhibit on Victorian elegance. The show opened on June the 18th and will run through January. On October the 9th, there will be another exhibit here in addition on the paintings of James Crawford Tom, who was a local resident. In this collection of Victorian artifacts, which are mostly all owned by members of the Museum Corporation, we have furniture, lamps, silverware, glassware, china, and you name it. You'll have to come to see it to enjoy it.
Victorian Settings, The Age of Elegance, will be at the museum through December 18, 1983. The museum is open Saturdays and Sundays, 1:30 to 4 p.m. Now let's join Mary Tenaccio for Consumer Aware.
Hello, and welcome to Consumer Aware. I'm Mary Tenaccio, and today we are going to discuss tips on contest cons. Congratulations. It's your lucky day. You've won one of the following prizes. How many of us have received letters of this nature? The prize that you may win may not be worth collecting. The diamond that you win is most likely the size of a pinhead. The vacation for two is usually a coupon book with very inexpensive lodging. Transportation and food is usually at your expense. The food processor, 9 times out of 10, is a hand chopper. The stereo system would fit in the palm of your hand. Most of these letters and prizes are used to induce you to a meeting for purchasing land, vacations. Some of them are time sharing. If you decide to follow through, remember when you attend these meetings that there are usually very high pressure sales techniques, and a lot of pressure is put on you to sign a contract. Remember, once you sign the contract, you usually cannot get out of it. Do not be deceived by official-looking letters from these people. If you do receive one, read the letter very carefully. Think before you even attend this meeting. See what the letter requests of you. Do not sign anything while you are at this meeting, regardless of what the salesman tells you. Take at least 24 hours to think it over. If they are not willing to give you 24 hours, then you should not be willing to give them a signed contract or any deposit. If you do decide to go with what they are offering, make sure before you hand over your signed contract to them that you have an attorney read it very carefully. Remember, check the prizes, check the letters, read them carefully. If you have any questions regarding the information I have given you today or anything that might concern you, remember the Consumer Affairs Office is in the municipal building. It's opened every day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The telephone number is 390-6954. Thanks so much for listening, and please tune in again next week.
Registrations are still being accepted for the East Brunswick Summer Day Camp program. It will run from June 27th through August 5th, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday. This year's program is open to all East Brunswick children between the ages of 5 and 12. Campers will participate in various indoor and outdoor activities and games, sports, arts and crafts, and a variety of trips. For further registration information, call 6797. This July 4th weekend in East Brunswick, the big event will be the Camp Daisy Country Fair. Sunday, July 3rd from 1 to 9 p.m. at the East Brunswick Municipal Center, Riders Lane. The rain date will be July 4th. Proceeds will benefit the Camp Daisy program. For additional information, contact Sally Yachman at 257-1969. Of course, highlights of the day's activities will be seen on Channel 8 on July 7th. One of those highlights will be the Jumbo String Band, which will be in concert on July 3rd at 7 p.m. at the Gazebo, Civic Center grounds. The band is primarily a bluegrass band. Admission is free, but be sure to bring lawn chairs and/or blankets. Refreshments will be available.